I'll be giving the kickoff of this course that will be during this week, and it's integrated in the European Erasmus Plus project called E4TLAI, which means Education for Technological Literacy and Inclusion. And today, as I explained this morning to the students, we will be doing both of things. So we will be improving here the technological literacy, giving some topics about the concept of augmented reality for teachers. And the inclusion, we want to, besides the gender topics that we've been speaking about in the project, and of course we also integrated in the multiplier event Miguel, but we are also including on this week's session 2 students, so Geronimo, that will be presenting after me these concept sessions. This is what it is all about, this first aid. It's about concepts and the areas where we can use augmented reality. And on Thursday will be Almeireles that will be showing several interesting things. We have already finished the PPT and you will love it for sure. Now, this European project, or this week will be in the morning for students lessons, so augmented reality for students, and in the afternoon between 2 and 3 p.m. European hour. So in Portugal it's 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. Between Monday and Friday the course will be developed. So this course has been working technology literacy established to work it in different ways, and the consortium of universities have shared to develop each of them one of those topics. So the topics that we have defined for this project are data science, and here is the leader and the Bilbao Basque Country University, who is developing. They have already presented their sessions for students and for teachers. This week it's up to us, Porto, the Polytechnic of Porto, with the topic of augmented reality, and we will do in these 2 schedules, in the morning for students and this lunchtime for teachers. Virtual reality will happen already for teachers and for students in December and January. Streaming just finished last week their presentation for teachers. So, and here at School of Education will be very interesting to share also with our music education students, because they will be developing in April too. Tajik from Tajikistan will be developing blockchain, and this will be in October. So those who are interested on this topic, please pay attention to my dissemination, to my partners' dissemination too. And finally, coding and cybersecurity from our partner from India, from Goa, the old Portuguese city, about coding and cybersecurity, and this is going to happen in May. So I will start by introducing you to our website. So everything that you want to know about our evolution and who we are and what we've been doing, our research work, you can find it here. Both, I'll be sharing with you the link that you could be so kind and fulfill it, because it's for our investigation work considering virtual and augmented reality. It is written in 3 languages, so you can answer both in Portuguese, in Spanish, and in English. We have already 163 answers, but we would like to have more, to have a more productive paper research work. And finally, I would like to introduce you my team who will be presenting these 5 days, the sessions. So I will be today and Thursday together with those 2 students. They've been developing, both Geronimo, our master students, both Geronimo and Paulo. They've been developing topics connected with technologies Paulo Meirelles has been developing with heritage management, so it would be very nice to see his PowerPoint that Antonio and João Vidal also developed with him. And then we have Ricardo and João Prudente. So this is the team, okay, that you'll find these days. Okay, back to so me and Jerónimo today, tomorrow will be João Prudente, on Wednesday will be João Prudente and Ricardo. On Thursday will be with Paulo Meirelles, and finally on Friday will be João Prudente, Ricardo, and both of them. So today, what will me and Jerónimo be doing? We will be defining the concept of augmented reality. I think it's always a good starting for a course to develop what is this concept here. And we will be distinguishing it from the virtual and immersive realities. We will also speak about the fields where it can be implemented, the augmented reality. And if we have time, we will speak about challenges and future trends. In the next session, so the other colleagues that I've just introduced to you, they will be developing key developments on augmented realities. They'll be speaking about devices, applications, case studies, and augmented reality technologies and platforms. So when I was thinking about this session and what to say about the concept, I decided to read these recent articles that have updated the concept of augmented reality. So the concepts that I'm writing there on these slides are the results of what I've read from Arena and all, because they give us in their paper of 2022 an overview about the concept of augmented reality, and also about Cerqueira and all, that at the end of last year, they reflect about what learning in augmented reality, how can this be potentialized together with another topic that I'm starting also investigating, sorry, which is about serious games. So in summary, we can say that augmented reality is a technology that overlays digital information such as images, videos, or 3D models onto the real world environment in real time. So it's different from virtual reality, which, unlike virtual reality, it creates a completely immersive digital environment and enhances also the real world with additional digital content. So the concept of augmented reality involves the integration of digital information with users' environment in such a way that the digital information appears to be part of the physical world. This is typically achieved through the use of devices such as smartphones, tablets, smart glasses, or specialized augmented reality headsets. These devices use cameras, sensors, and other technologies to detect the user's surroundings and overlay digital content accordingly. So on the presentation of Thursday, you will see that Paul will bring or inform us that glasses like this one that I'm wearing in the future will be the future. Everybody will be wearing these, not because they suffer from their eyes, but because they will be doing everything in the air with the help of those glasses. So in the project, the consortium, not only Portugal, but also the two partners from Spain, from Estonia, and from Tajikistan and India, of course, we agreed that we'll be developing each of these technological literacy topics will be focused on 6 main areas, and they are cultural tourism, basic education, university education, architecture, cultural management, and enterprise management. Well, the basic education and university education was not like this. It was education in general. Since I work in a school of education, I believe it's important to divide these because we could have also audiences that might be interested in these differences. So looking deeply on these topics. So how can we look to cultural tourism? Let me just say okay to these late persons here. Okay. How can we introduce the topic of augmented reality in cultural tourism? Well, it's very important because it's increasingly prevalent in this field, enhancing visitor experience by overlaying digital information onto physical environment. So we can use it either, for example, in historical site reconstructions. We will see this on Thursday. It's very interesting to see that we can see a building almost destroyed, and then we put the device on and we can see how it was or how it will be after constructed. So augmented reality can provide virtual reconstruction of historical sites, allowing visitors to see how they looked in the past. For example, visitors could use augmented realities to see ancient ruins restored to their former glory or historical buildings as 2 centuries ago. Another application for cultural tourism is to have interactive exhibits. So museums and cultural sites are already doing this a lot. So we can see Louvre and we can see other examples that are using augmented reality to create interactive exhibits. So visitors can, use augmented reality, enable devices or smartphones to access to this information, to multimedia content, or to interactive experience related to artifacts or artworks. Well, augmented reality in cultural tourism can also be used for guided tours. And in this sense, it can provide visitors with an immersive experience by overlaying information, images, or videos onto their surrounding. This can include historical facts, stories, or multimedia content relevant to the site being visited. Another application that it can have is on not guided tours, but on virtual guides. And here they can accompany visitors through their cultural tourism experience, provide information, answering to questions, and offering insights in the real time. These virtual guides can take the form of animated characters or digital avatars. Another application that we can have here is to enhance interpretation. So augmented reality technology can enhance interpretation at cultural sites by providing contextual information, translations, or additional insights about artifacts, artworks, or historical events. This will help the visitor to better understand the significance and context of what they're seeing. Also, it can be used, and this is very important for the reenactment, which is quite important here for my colleagues of history. It helps, we can use augmented reality games and challenges, and like this, we can engage visitors to learn about history in a fun and education activities. Of course, the strategy here can be different, can be with quizzes or can be by encouraging visitors to explore the site. Another application is about art installations. And here we have artists, I realized in several case studies that I gave this morning, that they are using more and more the way to innovate and to create new art pieces. and namely the art installations, for example. And these installations can be blend digital and physical elements, offering visitors unique and immersive experience that provoke thought and stimulate creativity. Another topic is by simulating time travel. So we can simulate time travel experience, allowing visitors to witness historical events and explore time periods. Another idea is the wayfinding and navigation. So it helps to navigate through complex cultural sites more easily. And finally, to personalize experiences. So they can tailor experience to individual visitor wishes, if you'd like. And also by analyzing their, I'm sorry. Are you seeing the, or not? Probably not.
No, no.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I click here on the, I was speaking and, okay. So this was for cultural tourism. We can see now we can go to the field of education and start analyzing by basic and education. How can I use in the classes of basic education? And here the augmented reality makes the learning more interactive, more immersive, and more engaging. And there are several examples that I put here on the PowerPoint. One of it is connected with interactive textbooks. In fact, with augmented reality, we can enhance traditional textbooks by overlaying digital content such as 3D models, videos, animations, and additional information onto the pages. So the students can enable their devices to interact with the contents, making learning more dynamic and engaging. This is what we saw this morning with the YouTube videos that I show, but this afternoon we have less time, so I have to be faster on this. Also, we can use augmented reality in basic education by creating virtual laboratory experience. So this is for science, which is quite interesting, challenging to make demonstrations different from the traditional classroom setting. Also, augmented reality can happen with flashcards, and with these interact the learning experience or intensify the learning experience. So viewing with a flashcard, we can have access to additional information, to images or animations related to the topic that is being studied. So reinforcing the understanding of the learning process of the student through audiovisual aids. Also for historical reenactments, that it's important for cultural tourism, but here too. So when they're studying history, they can recreate and can witness how civilizations were created and all the evolution that history had by using a more immersive and memorable moments here. Another topic is about language learning. And here, as we saw this morning on the example that I gave to the students, augmented reality can facilitate the language learning by providing immersive experience into students with virtual objectives, and they can learn with those objectives and practice also the languages. The geography, well, geography and maps, also important for the lessons of geography. So following the exercise already done by cultural tourism, we can learn about geographical features and visualize spatial relationship into a more interactive, engaging way. Also from classes of mathematics, so we can visualize, for example, geometric figures in real time and interact with mathematical models to deeper understand its principles, so the principles of mathematics. It's also important in basic education for art and design education. And here we can overlay virtual galleries, artistic biographies, art tutorials on real world, and also have a guidance on the artistic endeavors. We can do STEAM simulations, which is quite in fashion nowadays. And we can have students to explore the solar system or simulate physics experience or interact with molecular structures and so on. And finally, this can be used also in basic education by collaborative learning experience. And with this experience, students have the possibility to interact with virtual objectives and communicate with peers in real time. So they can collaborate with projects to solve problems together and share their ideas and insights about augmented reality. When we change to, when we change to university level, let me see if I can put it big. Yeah. This is important because we can provide an immersive, interactive and experience learning experiences. And some examples that I bring here, I connected with virtual medical training simulation. In fact, this is a topic that I've been working with Pamplona University, and we're realizing that we have more and more cases where students can visualize, for example, anatomy, can practice surgical techniques and diagnostics different clinical problems. Also, at the university level, it can be used by the field trips and expeditions. So if we want to explore historical sites or geological formations, cultural landmarks, anthropology, whatever, we can go into immersive experience and understand what is underground. Also, augmented reality can be important for architecture and design visualization. We had already, as I mentioned, the sessions of virtual reality, and we could see sometimes when it's virtual and when it's augmented reality. So our colleagues from Pamplona gave us some examples connected with this. But just to remember that this can be used, our university students can use these applications to overlay digital models onto physical spaces, simulate building structures, and explore interactive 3D environments. Just as I showed this morning to the students with a YouTube example. Also, augmented reality can be used for books and textbooks. And here, the university students can use devices to access to supplementary resources and to engage several course materials and go to a deeper understanding about the topic he's studying. It can be used also for data visualization and analytics. So we can be doing something like we saw in virtual reality, that we can have a global, and then we can see the differences, for example, the economical differences between continents or between countries in the same continent with just our finger press. Also, we can use for virtual lectures and presentations. And here we can use it as interactive visual aids, 3D models, immersive demonstrations. So the university instructors can use augmented reality technology to engage students in virtual lectures, deliver dynamic presentations, and facilitate active learning experience to complement again their traditional study. Finally, we can use it for collaborative research and projects. So students can use augmented reality to enable devices to collaborate on virtual projects, share research findings, and communicate ideas across different disciplines, fostering innovation and team skills in higher education. So architecture that we saw already on virtual sessions, I would just remember some of the topics that we saw there and that we saw this morning. So it can be implemented for design visualization. So architects can design fit within the surrounding environments, assess scale and proportions, and make real-time adjustments. For client presentations, and which gives a good idea of the project that we want to sell. On-site construction visualization. So architects and builders can ensure that the construction process is aligned with the design intent and identify possible conflicts that the construction is having. Also for interior design planning. And I'm speaking about how to organize ergonomically the furniture, the lighting, and the finishes of the construction. So the aesthetic part, if we like to call it like that. Also for the BIM, so the interactive building information modeling that we had already the lucky to learn with our colleagues from Pamplona. So architects and project stakeholders can use it to devices to access in real time to data about the building materials, the construction progress, and so on. Historical reconstruction and preservation. So we can see what is damaged and destroyed, and we can overlay historical images, architectural plans, and 3D models onto the physical site. And then the architects with this can recreate the building in an original appearance that they had. Also important for construction training and safety. And this is thinking about the workers' protection, and so to reduce the risk of accidents and errors during the constructions. Also for marketing and promotion. And let's see. Sorry. And okay, I'll give it inside the promotional campaigns. So cultural managers can use augmented reality to attract visitors and to attract for exhibitions and for cultural experiences. And final, for revenue generation. So I'm speaking about ticket packages and to provide additional value information to visitors into the space that we want to share here. A specific area that is very keen to me, and I think it's also to some of us that are in this consortium, is considering economics and enterprise management. And when I was preparing this session, I was trying to understand what are the fields that augmented reality makes more sense, like those that I've just shown before, and those that can go slower to accompany this evolution to these new technological fields. And from the readings that I made to prepare this session, I realized that augmented reality can be important for enterprise management since it can improve productivity, efficiency, and collaboration according different industries. And this can be seen, for example, on the remote assistance and support. So we can support the fields of technicians in an enterprise, like the engineers, and we can use also the glasses that are appearing now also not only for virtual reality but for augmented reality or mobile devices at the same time, in order the employees can access to real-time guidance, instructions, and like this, reducing uh, downtime time in work. Another topic for enterprise management can be training and onboarding. So augmented reality can enhance the training and onboarding process by providing immersive and interactive learning experience for employees. So companies can use augmented reality to stimulate real-world scenarios, training sessions, and provide complex tasks and procedures. Also for maintenance and repairs, we know that especially in factories, this is always being necessary to use. So augmented reality can enable devices to identify equipment faults, assets maintenance history, and perform repairs more efficiently, minimizing downtime and consequently reducing costs. Also in enterprise management, it can be used for product design and prototyping. By allowing engineers and designers to visualize and manipulate the 3D models in real-world environments. So by using this application, the team can collaborate on design iterations to access product aesthetics and ergonomics and to simulate product functionality before physical prototypes are built, speeding up the product development process. Also, it can be nice for inventory management and logistics, especially for the warehouse workers. They can locate inventory items, they can pick orders more efficiently, they can navigate in a more efficient way in this logistical area of the enterprise. Also for remote collaboration and meetings. So by using communication platforms, employees can participate in virtual meetings, share documents and presentations, and collaborate in projects in augmented reality spaces, fostering teamwork and communication across remote locations. And the two missing topics, which are quality assurance inspection. And here the inspectors can overlay digital inspection checklists, specification and visual annotations on physical objects, ensuring the quality standards and identify defects more accurately. And also for the marketing departments for sales and marketing presentations. And here we can use provide interactive products demonstrations in immersive for customers, where sales representatives can use augmented applications to show products in augmented reality, allowing customers to visualize the products in their own environment, customize their characteristics, and have more information about the purchasing decisions. Well, my time is getting to an end. I have to pass my speech to Geronimo, but I would like to tell you that in this PowerPoint that I'll be sharing with everybody with the worldwide, I did even more specific research. How can we implement this topic in specific areas of management? And this is how can it help for financial management? How can it help for human resources? How can it help for logistics and so on? Finally, I also pick it up in an area that I was discussing with my team when we were finalizing the presentation and dividing what each of us will present in each day. And I was discussing, what about a lawyer? Doesn't a lawyer needs augmented reality? And João Prudente, as an engineering, he was comment with me, well, as a lawyer, he doesn't want us to take him work. And what augmented reality does is to take the extra work that we suffer nowadays. So, but even like that, at the legal level, they can have augmented realities, and this I read in the paper that I found.
Actually, Inês, we were talking about the artificial intelligence and the augmented reality. Augmented reality, of course, it's a tool for people that may work and put something that is virtual in a real world. Let's say that the lawyers work in a more virtual world. It's paper, it's laws. It's not something that is concrete. So you don't have a reality in the sense that everything is virtual, or at least not connected to the reality.
Okay, but they can use, for example, for case preparation, for courtroom presentations, and also for the consultations that they do to their clients, don't you think? João, did I lost you? So this was what I was reading when I was preparing this. So by using these augmented realities, they can improve efficiency and effectiveness in their practice. I brought here a gentleman.
You lost me. The problem is that Zoom was not giving the ability to unmute myself. But okay. Yeah, they can prepare. It's useful to.
Why it's important augmented reality for a lawyer.
Yeah, I see the importance of augmented reality for in courtroom more than preparing, because you can show a scenario. For example, they can show that something that happened in an accident or a work accident or a car accident. They can superimpose some information and help to explain the situation. But I don't think that is the most useful situation, but okay. I accept. Inês thinks that it's very useful. I see. Yes, it is useful to explain something that happened in the real world. Okay.
So this presentation is entitled AR and extended reality, a trend on the rise. The first topic that this presentation covers is the distinction between augmented reality, AR, mixed reality, MR, and virtual reality, VR. Okay. These terms are often used interchangeably. However, these are fundamentally distinct concepts in the literature. So if we imagine a continuum that goes from the real world to the virtual world, then augmented reality would be the one that is closer to the real world. And virtual reality is the one that is the closest to the virtual world. Mixed reality is somewhat stuck between augmented reality and virtual reality. So we have these examples of in action of the augmented reality and virtual reality, and extended reality, which is another concept, XR, actually XR, includes all three of these concepts. So augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality are all within the concept of extended realities, which is basically an umbrella concept that encompasses all these three distinctions. So to further detail what each concept means, augmented reality, when comparing it to virtual reality, has a few distinctions. In augmented reality, we can see the real world around the user. Okay. However, there is something that's generated by a computer, like graphic overlays, 3D models, videos, that is superimposed upon the real world. So it is essentially something that adds a new layer on top of what we see. It has, for example, a few applications in solving technical problems, giving technical support, troubleshooting, and it's useful to bring in a remote expert to assist in solving real-world problems. However, it is not totally virtual. It does not give full immersion, and it does not, by and large, require certain technological gadgets like VR glasses, for example. So a good example would be using augmented reality to fix car engines. Okay, so for example, we can use a tablet to look at the car engine, and it can overlay labels that identify the different car components. This has interesting potential in the field of education, as the previous presentation demonstrated, and it can really transform the way information is transmitted and learned by providing a more interactive experience. So a good example of augmented reality would be the video game Pokemon Go, because in this video game, users utilize their smartphones. They and their cameras. They point their cameras at a real environment, and there is computer-generated Pokemon that appear on top of the physical world. So it is a mixture of the virtual world with the real world. Using only a smartphone. No VR glasses, no AR headsets, nothing. Just a smartphone. An example of virtual augmented reality is the IKEA app that uses augmented reality to help users deal with a common problem, which is how would this particular piece of IKEA furniture look in my living room? So using only a smartphone, users can utilize the camera on their smartphones, point it at their living room, and a computer-generated 3D model of a certain piece of IKEA furniture will appear superimposed on the image that we get from the camera. So we can see how a particular piece of furniture would look on a real living room. So we have in this image, this is the real world, physical environment, and a digital and virtual objects laid on top. Okay, so it's a mixture of both the real and the virtual. Virtual reality, on the other hand, offers total immersion. You cannot see the real world with virtual reality. That's the main distinction. It is a completely artificial and simulated environment. It truly brings users to a different place and perhaps even a different time. So it offers greater control of what they see and what they experience. It is still compared to augmented reality earlier in its stage of development. So because it has a few limitations that are yet to be overcome that I will cover in a while. However, it has seen in the past few years substantial investments by technological giants. For example, the development of the metaverse by Meta, formerly Facebook, and it has very interesting applications in the field of gaming. For example, the PlayStation VR, which allows gamers to experience a video game totally in virtual reality. It also has interesting educational and training opportunities, as well as applications in architecture, tourism, and construction. So a good example of virtual reality would be this image. So effectively, this is also a living room, but the main difference from the previous one, when compared to the previous one, is that this is a totally virtual environment that generated by a computer, and that the user sees and interacts with using, for example, VR glasses. So there's nothing of the real world in this image. Everything is virtual. Okay, then we have another concept, which is mixed reality. Mixed reality is a bit of a hybrid that mixes some elements of AR and VR. So it can be somewhat difficult to distinguish between AR and MR, but it's because they are indeed very similar. However, the main difference is that this utilizes, like virtual reality, some kind of device that can scan the real world environment and allows for greater interaction. So it involves more technology than simply using a smartphone or a tablet. However, it is not totally virtual. There's still elements of the real world, unlike virtual reality. So examples of mixed reality are best illustrated by the Microsoft HoloLens and its competitor, the Apple Vision Pro, that has been released recently. There are other examples like the Magic Leap 1, Meta 2, Varjo XR3. And there's a lot of potential for mixed reality because it is interesting to get it is an interesting technology that mixes the digital and the real world with a wide variety of applications. And it is very important to shape how we'll interact with the real world. But even more immersive than augmented reality. So this is this is another example of mixed reality. We can see another living room, but unlike the previous two living rooms, we have a few differences. So we have also a mixture of the real world and the digital world. Like in the first living room, the augmented reality living room. So in this case, we see that someone is playing a video game like Minecraft on using mixed reality. However, unlike AR, the user is utilizing some kind of device, okay, like this headset over here. So it is different from AR, but at the same time, it's not the same as VR because what the user sees is not a totally virtual environment. It is a mixture of the physical and the real world and the digital world. So a good application for this would be this example on the right, where someone is utilizing an headset to see a 3D overlay of an expert that is instructing them on how to conduct a repair. So this is a good example of mixed reality in action, and its potential to bring in remote expertise to tackle real life problems. And these technologies are all supported by motion sensors, gyroscopes, accelerometers, cameras, for example, in the cameras in smartphones and tablets as well, display devices, AR glasses, VR headsets, etc. Image processing algorithms. It is important. This is more. This is not hardware but software. So there's a necessity to build algorithms that can effectively identify different surfaces, recognize different objects, and accurately position the virtual elements. And for developers, we need some kind of platform that allows them to build these kinds of AR solutions. So we have in the iOS, Apple, the developer kit, AR kit, and for the Android, Google universe, we have the AR core. So we also have a brief history of extended reality. So this is an example of the sword of Damocles early experience in VR. We can see a photo. In the 1980s to 1990s, it was the time when the term augmented reality first appeared in the literature. It was used to describe overlaid information in industrial environments. An early example of AR in action is the creation of the heads-up display, the HUD system, that is used in, for example, in aviation to provide additional details to pilots. And we can also see that during the 1990s, virtual reality began to attract more attention. The first example of virtual reality being utilized by a major corporation in the world of gaming was the Virtual Boy. The Virtual Boy was released by Nintendo it was a portable gaming console, which is a bit strange because it doesn't look like a portable console at all. But it did offer stereoscopic VR. However, it ended up being a commercial and critical flop, although it was lauded by its pioneering attempts to really explore with virtual reality. It only provided virtual reality in a palette of red and black, which is a bit peculiar. So all the games are in red and black, and it was shortly discontinued. So in the 2000s, extended reality, this is not virtual reality, also began being popularized. A good example in the world of gaming is iToy, that was released for the PlayStation 2. It used a camera to allow players to interact with video games using just their bodies, and so no traditional controllers. In the subsequent generation, the Microsoft Kinect was released as well. We also saw the Sony releasing the PlayStation Move, which did use a controller. In the 2010s, we saw a rapid evolution of augmented and extended reality because of the development and popularization of the smartphones and operating systems like iOS and Android. So in the middle of the decade, Snapchat introduced the AR filters that allows users to add fun effects to photos and videos. And so currently, looking at the market for AR and VR, effectively, the global AR market is growing exponentially. North America currently has the highest share of the market by analyzing by region with 36%. However, the Asia Pacific region, driven mostly by China, is the one that is experiencing the highest and fastest growth rates. So it will probably overtake not the North American market. And by component, the software segment is actually the one that generates the majority of the revenue, not the hardware. And in terms of industries, the healthcare segment is probably the most promising of them all. So in this image, you can see the ecosystem that has been built up in Europe for AR and VR. So we have policymakers like in the EU and at the national level. We have private equity firms that provide, as well as EU funds like Horizon 2020 that provide funding. There are major corporations that are demanding these kinds of services, like IKEA and also IKEA, big companies in the automotive industry, etc. And we have a few VR companies that really create solutions like Ignite, PS Tech, Vive. These are ones that are based in Europe. The universities and these research centers that also develop and carry out research and R&D projects, like the University of Barcelona, the University of Amsterdam. These are some of the most interesting centers for research in this area. And we have also associations that support institutions, and as well as institutions that create and develop awareness, raise awareness and organize events, and there is also specialized media and blogs that cover virtual reality in Europe. So this is an example of the ecosystem in Europe. We also have a different ecosystem for North America and different ecosystem for the Asia Pacific, but I decided to include this one because it's the most interesting for us. So in terms of the diffusion of innovation, virtual reality is still in the early market stage, still mostly used by the innovators and the early adopters, but yet to be adopted by 50% of the population. Okay, so it still has to go through this chasm to reach an early majority. So augmented reality, on the other hand, has already made its way into the mainstream market. So we already have an early majority that is using AR even in the most basic forms. But it is important to note that still there is a huge chunk of the market that is yet to be explored, the so-called white majority and the laggards. In terms of the hype cycle, according to Gartner, we are at the stage that is past the peak of inflated expectations. So the expectations have come down, and but they are currently recovering as these technologies mature. So VR is the one that is probably closest to the so-called slope of enlightenment. Okay, but these technologies are still behind the Web 2 technologies like the PC, the mobiles, and the video game consoles that are already mature technology. So it's still in the middle, and but it's already past the peak of inflated expectations. Like for example, something that's currently at the peak of inflated expectations, generative AI. So a lot of hype around it, but it's ultimately unsustainable. It will come down, and so it's currently in the middle of the hype cycle. So this has already been covered in the previous presentation, but it's also important to remind the audience that it has a huge potential in education, entertainment, medicine, advertising, and design. However, there are a few challenges, like, for example, the VR and mixed reality has the challenge related to the hardware, so it needs to be more accessible than it currently is. There's also challenges related to developing a more user-friendly experience. Some people simply do not see themselves using this kind of technology for 8 hours a day because of nausea and visual fatigue. There's also not a lot of content. For example, in the gaming industry, there are VR video games, but these are still not the AAA titles or the main titles in the certain consoles library, the ones that everyone wants to play. There's the issue with developing interfaces that are more intuitive. There's also the challenge of accessibility. Like these technologies are not very accessible for people who are visually impaired and have other disabilities, which creates a problem of inclusion as well. And in terms of regulation, it's probably one of the biggest restraints on the growth of this industry, which is really the lack of a solid regulatory framework. And issues pertaining to protecting user data, which really creates a lot of uncertainty for investors. So the regulation needs to catch up with these technologies. So this is an example of the challenges of extended reality, and this this was filmed after the release of the Apple Vision Pro. Uh, Another area that is generating a lot of hype around AR and mixed reality is the area of sales. Like, so as you can see, this is from a startup that is developing solutions for real estate. So this can be how people will look for for apartments to rent in the future. They can just look outside at the buildings and see how much it would cost to rent an apartment there. So if they are booked or not. And they can also help them choose the clothes that they want. See how how they would look on them. See, you give further information to the real world. So this is an area, the integration with the e-commerce and AR is still an area for further development that we'll probably see a lot of growth in the next few years. Let's see. So there's also direct to brain AR and brain integrated AR, which is something that is still currently being developed. Like Neuralink is as an example. So Elon Musk criticized the metaverse and says that his Neuralink will provide AR that is substantially better because it won't be necessary to use any kind of headset or device. So none of the so it is straight. It is uses a piece of technology that is implanted directly in the brain, but it also has some ethical implications and regulatory challenges. So we at sales and ISCAB PP, we carried out a study in the use of augmented reality. Sorry? So we carried out a study in the use of AR in the tourism of the city of Porto. So in the city of Porto, we have a few examples of AR and VR in action, like in the downtown area, you can play video games using VR. In the viral virtual reality, the Sea Life also has a VR app, so for visitors. There are AR exhibitions at the wine cellars, and we have interactive tourism shops in Porto that use AR and the technologies to make the experience of the tourist more interesting. So essentially, we ran a survey that anonymously targeted tourists in the city of Porto, and we use the UTAUT free model, which is an expanded version of the UTAUT model. And we did a quantitative study that explored what drives the adoption of augmented reality in the context of tourism. So we concluded that the main factor that are habits. So people get used to using this kind of technologies, they will use them. The hedonic motivation, the fact that these kinds of applications make life more pleasant, and can provide some fun experiences, and facilitating conditions like having good Wi-Fi, good broadband and internet access, having smartphones, that are all things that are of the essence in adopting these kinds of technologies in tourism. There are also differences in terms of age and gender. So age and gender play a moderating role in a few relationships. So in general, as one would expect, Gen Z and the millennials have higher adoption rates, and men also have higher adoption rates than women. So there are some challenges in terms of inclusivity and accessibility, namely related to underrepresented genders and people with disabilities and visual impairments. So this is the conclusion of the presentation. I'll leave a few references here if someone has any kind of questions.
Yeah, I'm opening the session, and sorry for these 20 minutes more for the end. Thank you for being with us. I would like to ask if you have any questions for me or for Geronimo. This is a real new topic, and for us it's strange. But not for Geronimo. For Geronimo it's normal thing already.
Geronimo, if I may, do you know of open source software that AR?
Yes, there are a few softwares for AR. A lot of applications in AR use the Unity engine, which is for in terms of developer kits, like to develop AR apps. So we saw that there are AR developer kits for both iOS and Android. Forgot the names. Sorry. AR kits for the iOS and the AR courses. So this is the iOS, and also a lot of companies have applications that use some kind of AR, like IKEA has applications that use AR, and as Ray-Ban also has an app that uses AR so that allows users to try out a new pair of sunglasses, for example. So they can take turn on their camera, and a simulated version of the sunglasses will be overlaid on top of their face, so they can get a feel of how a certain pair of sunglasses will look on them. And there are also VR applications like Overcome, that is an application that's used to help people with social anxiety and agoraphobia. It allows people to simulate environments that trigger symptoms of anxiety, for example. I actually used that one to get over the fear of flying. So before I took a flight to Lisbon, I was a bit anxious, and so to prepare myself, I used that application, and I spent like 30 minutes and up to an hour in a simulated flight using VR glasses. So to get, and it gave me a feeling of what it was like being inside of a plane. And there are a huge number of examples.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and during this week we're going to see some applications, either from João, and I know that, for example, Paulo on Thursday will show some applications. Okay, today was just a day for concepts and for starting this session in augmented reality, and starting for tomorrow we will have some developments on this topic. Well, I would like to thank, I don't know if there are more questions because we are a little bit out of hour. I would like to thank for being here, present in this session, and I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow.